Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 469 of Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. This is the Spartan. I wanted to just provide you with a couple of quick updates, starting with a map update. You saw in the thumbnail, Bakhmut strikes back. So without giving away any OPSEC, knowing that Deep State map is most likely days behind, still find it really interesting to see the progress that the Ukrainian forces have been making in the Bakhmut area. And this is going to come as no surprise and no extra intelligence for the Russians. So if we look at the map here, here's Bakhmut. And you see the gray areas are still what we would consider contested. And the blue areas, I believe, are supposed to be newly occupied by Ukraine, and the green areas are confirmed held by Ukraine. And I've backed this map up to May 31st, so you can basically see what's been going on. It already doesn't look good for the Russian forces here, and potentially for the Russian forces here. Let me zoom in a little bit more, try to get this right. Okay, so if we go forward, here's June 2nd, June 3rd, June 4th, June 5th. You see they're starting to take a little bite out there. June 6th, even deeper, and June 7th. The perceived control of Ukraine has moved up. The confirmed control has moved up. But what I find really interesting is this salient that's being created here. This looks to me more than just a probing exercise. This looks to me like the Ukrainians are driving hard for this highway. If they're having success, yes, the ground is a lot drier. So there's a lot more freedom of movement through fields, force, and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I think it's safe to say that this is a major GLOC, ground line of communication, for the Russians. And if the Ukrainians, let's say in reality, this is a couple of days ago, they've made it this far. If they're able to cut off this highway, I would not want to be the Russian forces stuck out in the perimeter out here, knowing that the Ukrainians are looping around behind. They could also be pushing from the north as well. And then same thing for here. These people, the Russians that are stuck here, just west of Klishchivka, basically they've got Ukrainians on three sides, and there's no clear ground line of communication to get in or out of here. This is basically tree lines, farm fields, open areas. Again, not ideal as far as how you would want to be retreating, or how you would want to be looking over your shoulder, knowing that there's a good chance that you could be encircled, either from a sort of an operational encirclement or an actual physical encirclement where they actually loop around behind you. There's not a lot of land left behind them. So I'm hoping that this is portends of good things to come, and I'd like to see this salient completely chopped off here, and same thing with here, and then we can start working around getting around the flanks of Bakhmut city and see if we can get those imported Russians and Kadyrovites to vacate, since Wagner already has. Okay, now moving over to the map. I didn't put a ton on here. I know there has been a ton of coverage on the Novokhovka Dam and the flooding, etc. I didn't want to go too deep into that. It's been covered ad nauseum, I think, and not to say that it doesn't deserve it, but I don't want to do a disservice by trying to lightly touch on it when other content creators and streamers have done such a good job diving deep into it. I know there's been some questions around whether or not who potentially blew up the dam. I'll just throw my 2 cents in and basically say that it could be a comedy of both ineptitude on the Russian part and a little bit of malevolence, a little bit of intentional destruction. there's been some people that have basically thrown out ideas such as they attempt to do a little bit of damage to the dam to release some water after raising the height of the water. And things got out of hand, knowing the inside of the dam was purportedly mined, and if the water entered the main structure of the dam and started to interact with and move around the explosives that were already there, they could have set off some internal explosions that they didn't mean to. If they just wanted to flood the Dnieper River, they could have opened up all the sluice gates after raising the water. So I don't think it was just the intent to, create a backlog of water and then just let it all go at once to create some flooding. I truly believe that somebody, and there has been some online Russian soldiers who have claimed that it was blown up, it was intentional. I think they might have wanted to do a little bit of damage to it and things got out of hand. But that being said, that may never be proven out, but we know the damage is done. They had control of the dam. They raised the water. They didn't open the sluice gates. They mined it with explosives. They mined the exterior with explosives. They mismanaged it, and obviously one of the biggest natural disasters since Chernobyl has happened. Definitely thoughts and prayers with everybody in southern Ukraine, in the Kherson Oblast, both sides of the river. It's just it's devastating, absolutely devastating, and I truly hope that the Ukrainians gain control soon. They can put in a temporary dam across the in front of the Novakhovka destroyed dam, and hopefully raise the water levels up and start to get things back to normal. The Russians won't let that happen, though. They've got to be moved out of any type of artillery or missile range in order for that to happen. That being said, we'll do a little counterclockwise update on a few things that I wanted to show you on the map. Starting with this, just one of thousands of videos or hundreds of videos of farm animals, pets, etc., that have been impacted by the flooding. And this is in Korsunka village in Kherson region. At least these pigs, they've got water. It looks great or whatever, but the thing is, they're on top of a rooftop. They've got nowhere to move, and there are all people's pets, people's farm animals, zoo animals, etc., that have all been negatively impacted. Moving on up, and again, we're going to adhere to operational security. So anything that I've included on the map here is either public knowledge provided by Russian sources, or is not in a location or at a time frame that would give it away. This is from Russian sources from Rybar. Today, the armed forces of Ukraine conducted a mass reconnaissance in force at the Orakovsky sector. Separate assault units of the 128th Brigade of the DSHV and the 15th Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine attacked Russian positions near Lobkovy and Zerbyansky. And that's basically just the same tweet again that shows the location right there. So that's Rybar. That is a pro-Russian source who's basically claiming that there are attacks all along this front. And so I'm comfortable posting that because of the fact, again, it is coming from a Russian source. Next up, Russian sources. This is apparently from the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group reports intense fighting. 1 second. Yeah, so Orkhovko seems to be the main line of attack. First night attack in a long time. No reports on formations or possible engaged brigades. Secondary lines of attacks towards Malaya, Tamachka, and Novodanilovka. Is it happening? Question mark. So that's from Wagner. Moving on up into the Donetsk region. And again, this one I just placed roughly in the Donetsk area on the Ukrainian side of the border, so not giving anything away. Somewhere near Donetsk, footage of Ukrainian tanks conducting offensive operations in the Donetsk region. One of the Ukrainian tanks ran over a mine at the 24-second mark. The crew survived and left the tank unharmed. Just one moment. I can't remember if there's audio on this. Oh, yeah. Can't do that. Sorry. Okay, so I believe it's this tank here you're going to be want to be watching on the left-hand side. I think it's that one. You can see firing off in the distance. Looks like multiple. 3 at least vehicles. Offset. And then boom. The tank hits something. It looks like it hits a mine. And then this tank instantly fires when that happened. I don't know if that was reactionary to it or if they'd actually had a target in mind at that point. See, this tanker stops. You can see some guys running around. And then he looks like he's ducking down to report what's going on to his commander or to his driver. So there's detract. What a hellscape. Other tanks moving off in the distance and firing. You just imagine that. Looks like they have a wide front that they're attacking off to the left. 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock over there. Okay. What do we have next? I didn't report anything from the Belgorod People's Republic. It looks like the Russians have claimed that they've taken the town back. It looks like the Ukrainian or the Russian Liberation Army and the volunteer force still apparently are across the border holding some territory. Okay, so next we're going to go to Mystery Places, training of Ukrainian recruits. Thought this was a cool video to watch. I'm wondering if that is really loud for you guys. I apologize, because that sounds loud for me. And I really hope it's not copyrighted, but the music does justice. Practicing trench warfare. Scaling and rappelling. It's a little short rope course. And then the old carry the log with gunfire. Basically simulates real life experiences with smoke, noise, gunfire, people yelling at you, confusion, mud. And then dropping dummy grenades on you. That's pretty intense. I don't know how to properly either take. Looks like, yeah, take trenches. You really think that the Russian Mobics are getting trained like this when they're getting pulled out of prisons and off the street? I don't think so. Let's switch up that cap for a beret. That is awesome. Massive sense of pride. Yeah, I got the berets on now. Slava Ukraini. Really like that video. Okay, the other mystery places that we had. Again, this probably is just a training exercise. I don't know. I didn't geolocate it anywhere, but I thought it might be interesting to take a look at it and see if anybody recognizes any vehicles. Again, probably just a training exercise. So nice looking training vehicles. I wonder if there's any more around. Oh, it's interesting. It's up on the hill. Well, looks like some other people training up there. Well, I hope their training goes good. Hope they train the heck out of them. Okay. That is it for map updates. I did want to take a moment to recognize a fallen hero for Ukraine. This is a Ukrainian army soldier. His name was Serchiv Zelensky. He was killed in action on the Bakhmut front in the Donetsk Oblast on June 4th, 2023. He was a native of the village of Kinsolmis, Kherson Oblast. He leaves behind 2 children and his wife and sick mother. Glory to the heroes. Last up, it's not a speech from President Zelensky. It's along the same lines as that one. So yesterday, June 6th, 2023, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, presented the Golden Star military orders to family members of 2 Azov Regiment servicemen who were killed in action, who were awarded the highest state honor, the title of Hero of Ukraine, posthumously. I love that he does this. Anyways, that's it for tonight. Glory to the heroes. Glory to Ukraine. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.